Okay, so on problem number 1, we're going to use this table, and also problem number 2. Even problem number 3. How many problems go with that table? 1 through 3. So problems 1 through 3, we're going to use that table. So before we do anything, I want you to put this in stat. Every time you see a table, you guys need to put it in stat, enter, and then hit stat, arrow over to calc 4. So I'm going to walk around and check that you're doing this, and then I'm going to do it with you. Press pause to do this first, and then press play so that you can see if you did it right. Okay, so we're going to put this in stat. You should have already done it. Stat, enter. And if you have numbers in there from previous classes, just delete them. Just make sure that you have L1 and L2, because if you don't, it's not going to give you an answer or the correct answer. And if you don't have L1 and L2, you clear the calculator. Second plus 7, 1, 2. So on here, you guys should have put 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, I'm on the wrong side. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And in L2, we have 120, 140, 160, 180, 200. Oops, 2,000, 200. Okay? And then you do stat again. Arrow over to the word calc. Press the number 4 and enter. And that is the equation for problem number 3. So how would I write it? You would write y equals 20 x plus 60. So we're going to write it down. That's on it. Right here. Y equals, what was it? 20x plus 60. Now, we have to change our letters. This is x, this is y, so my x's are n's and my y's are c. So c equals 20n plus 60. Same thing. Same thing, okay? Now, this question right here where it says, what is the first finite difference? They're really talking about the slope. Okay, but let me show you. They're talking about from here to here, how much did it change? From here to here, how much did it change? That is the first finite difference. So right here, we're going to put 20. If you see those words on the test, that's what they're talking about. Just tell me how much the y is changing by. Okay? If the pattern continues in the table above, what will the value of C for the total cost when the number of poles ordered n equals 10? So we're going to put this equation in our Desmos, and we're going to go look at 10. What does it give you? So everybody is on Desmos. You're putting the equation in there. You're adding the equation, and you're going to go look for 10 on your table. Okay, so you should have already done this, and if you haven't, just follow along with me. Desmos, you're typing in the equation y equals 20x plus 60. And you hit this little gear button because I don't want to add a table. Adding a table means you're adding your own points on there. I want the points for this equation. So remember we hit the gear and the table for that equation. And then you would type 10 at the bottom. Add the 10 at the bottom. And it gives you the number, which is 260. Okay, that's the answer for problem number 2. 260. So right here, is $260 for 10 poles, fishing poles. Okay, problem number 4. Remember, tomorrow's going to be multiple choice. So these are a little bit harder because you have to, there's no answers. Okay, so Elaine's summer job earnings were $1,275. She spent 40 of her earnings per week during the school year. Write an equation that represents the amount of money M that was remaining from Elaine's summer job's earnings after W weeks of school. Remember, we always start Y equals. How much did Elaine start with? 1,275. That is your y-intercept. That's how much she started with. Y-intercept. That's the starting point. So if you want to write that down, starting. Okay? So she had that amount of money. What is she doing? She's spending 40 per week. Spending is minus, right? Because that money is going down. So minus 40. How do you write per week? X. Okay? She started with this amount, and it's going down by 40 every week. You guys did this in Algebra 1, and it should be easier by now. Okay, let's go to the next one. Problem number 5. Hold on real quick. So right here, it says Carlos was driving at a constant speed. That means it has a slope because it remains the same every single time. So we have to find that slope. What are they giving us? They're giving us a table. That's a table. Okay, so if I draw my table, X and Y, 3 hours takes, you go 300 miles. 6 hours, you go 480 miles. And what do we do with tables? We put them in stat. So everybody should be putting this in stat and getting an equation for it. Stat enter, and then stat, arrow over to calc 4. So press pause, do the work, and then we'll check it. Okay, so we have stat enter, delete whatever you have on there. Put your new table, 3, 6. And you have 300 and 480. Stat, calc, 4, enter. The equation is y equals 60x plus 120. So the answer is letter C. Okay? Problem number 6. You can do this either on the graphing calculator or in Desmos. But let's look at it in the, let's look at this in Desmos. Let's put this equation. Don't put the comma. Put the equation in, and this is y equals. So really you're putting y equals 400x minus 7,200 in Desmos right now. And we're looking, how many bicycles does he have to sell, how many bikes, to get $2,000. So we're going to go look at that in Desmos right now. Everybody's typing it. Y equals, you do put X, is 400X, not N. Minus 7,200. Okay, you add a table, or not add a table, but do the table for that function, And look at these numbers. These are negative numbers. I don't need negative numbers, so I'm going to have to go look for some more numbers because right now he still hasn't made his money back. So we're going to go up here. You're going to have to zoom out and look for 2,000. So go look for 2,000 on the Y right here. Approximately how many? You have to go up and look for 2,000 on the Y. And look, you just click on it, and it's about like 22 or 23. So let's type 22, see what it gives you. Or 20, do 20, do 22. Does that give you 2,000? No. Do 23. Does that give you 2,000? Yes. Now remember, on the test, there's going to be answer choices. So you just type the answer choices in here and see which one gives you that number. Okay? Right now, it was a little harder because we had to go look for it. But on the test, they'll have answer choices. And then you type those in there and see which one gives you 2,000. So, 23 bicycles gives me $2,000. The answer is 23 bicycles. Same thing for number 7. We're going to use that equation. Okay? This is y equals 2.4x plus 32.2. And it's asking, okay, how much would it be for 15.5? So you would type 15.5 in the table and see what number it gives you for the height. So you're going to pause, you're going to put this in there, and I'm going to walk around and check your answers. So you have the equation y equals 2.4x plus 32.2. Okay, hit the home button. Now, don't go look for it on this graph. You do the table for this function. So click the gear, table, and we're going to type. The number that they're asking us for is 15.5. And the answer is 69.4. So you would just find it on one of the answer choices. So we're going to put this on here. On our table, we saw that 15.5 gave us 69.4, and that is our height in inches. Okay? Problem number 8. I want you to go graph that. Problem number 8, you're going to graph this in Desmos and answer all of these questions. Problem 9, you're going to put this in Stat, Calc 4, get the equation, y equals, put it in Desmos, and answer all these questions. And I will do this in the next video.